Well, it's a very warm welcome and thank you for joining me on this independent off-tube studio commentary on the late kick-off in the Championship that concludes its Easter Monday fixture list. It's been a very busy day in the Championship and a couple of big news stories, of course, including that Derby County have been relegated following defeat at QPR today. But for Forest and West Brom, Forest currently find themselves in 5th place. They're 4 points behind Luton in 4th place. And they're only a couple of points clear of Millwall, who are currently in 7th place. Forest do have games in hand over pretty much everybody around them, though, and this is obviously one of those games now. So it's important for Steve Cooper's side to get points on the board. From West Bromwich Albion's point of view, they have 4 games remaining, including this one, and they currently find themselves 5 points, I should say, short of the playoffs. So mathematically, you would say that West Brom still have an outside chance, but it would really take winning all of their remaining games and sides above them dropping points as well. We'll see how the game plays out straight away, and a chance here for Forest with a long ball played down the right hand side. Surridge was chasing that one all the way to the line. Felt as though he might have been just slightly nudged there as he was going for the ball, but referee David Webb certainly not interested in giving a penalty for that one. Just to remind you of the 2-11s, it is Bryce Samba in goal for Nottingham Forest. The back three of Joe Worrell, Tobias Figueiredo and Scott McKenna. The 4 across the middle are Diop Spence, Ryan Yates, James Garner and Jack Colback, with the 3 up front, Philip Zinkerangel playing just behind Brennan Johnson and Sam Surridge. For West Bromwich Albion, it is David Button in goal with a back 3 of Kyle Bartley, Dara O'Shea and Matt Clark. And there's a 4 in midfield of Darnell Furlong, Jake Livermore, Adam Reach and Connor Townsend, with Carlan Grant, Carlan Grant and Alex Mowat, I should say, playing behind Andy Carroll. And it's Forest in possession down the right-hand side with Joe Worrell just being closed down by Mowat, going back towards the edge of his own penalty area. Forest's form, they had that 1-0 defeat, didn't they, away at Luton at the start of this bank holiday weekend. It's been very frustrating that for Steve Cooper. That was off the back of 3 wins, with that 4-1 win away at Blackpool and 2-0 wins at home against Coventry and Birmingham. From West Brom's point of view, they beat Blackpool last time out. That was after a 3-1 defeat at home to Stoke City. 2-0 win against Bournemouth as well was an impressive result, but just before that they lost away at Birmingham. And in mid-March they also had that 2-2 draw away at Bristol City. So a sketchy form really for Steve Bruce's side. And straight away he's trying to get some instructions out to his players. I think he was unhappy a little bit with how long it took Clark and O'Shea to try and clear the ball. Long throw now from Connor Townsend, headed away by Spence. It's Forest now back in possession. The ball played back to Diop. Spence plays an early one to Surridge. Backheel from him, looking for Johnson. That's good play though from Livermore to win that back for West Bromwich Albion. And now Matt Clark looked up, doesn't want to play a long ball though, just goes square towards Dara O'Shea. He then tries a long ball, searching for that big target of Andy Carroll. He heads it forward to Mowat. Mowat then plays it back towards the halfway line. Clark over to Townsend. Down this left-hand side, bit of a heavy touch there though from Alex Mowat, and the home side now back in possession here with Figueiredo going back towards Bryce Samba. Samba doesn't want to take too long on the ball. We saw what happened at the weekend in that FA Cup semi-final where Zach Steffen just seemed to want an age to try and clear the ball and was effectively tackled. It was almost like a goal from a computer game where you charge the goalkeeper down and try and tackle him, and that's precisely what happened. So on that occasion Samba didn't hang around, cleared it long. West Brom win it back in midfield. Now here is Andy Carroll over towards Darnell Furlong. Furlong then leaves the ball for Reach. Inside now towards Livermore, back towards the halfway line. It's West Brom now looking to try and bed down, seeing quite a bit of the ball now in these last couple of minutes. Just as I say that though, a loose ball played through midfield, although Ryan Yates can't pick it up for Forest, and suddenly it's played down the left hand side. Some space here for Carlan Grant, breaks into the penalty area, gets it onto his right foot, shoots, it's charged down, and the ball hit back all the way to the halfway line. Kyle Bartley mopping things up here for West Brom, plays it in towards Livermore. That was a decent half chance there for Grant. I'm not sure that he was compelled to shoot there. He could have perhaps looked for a pass. He gets across into the box there, tries to take it down on the chest. Just played away from him by Figueiredo. And then there's a bit of a fight for it in midfield. And both sets of players have their hands up. But the free kick has been given in favour of the visitors. Adam Reach was brought down. Reach putting Yates under pressure. and then just nips that ball off Yates, and then as Yates tries to win it back effectively and falling over, he then falls into Adam Reach. So it's a pretty easy decision in the end for the referee. If he decided there was no foul from Reach, then clearly Reach was being brought down by the Forest man. And no surprise to see the left footer Adam Reach being one of the players standing over this one. Carroll and Livermore are standing there as well. Brennan Johnson is standing there as if he was a West Brom player, but that's just to try and help his goalkeeper position the ball. Good early chance this for West Bromwich Albion. And it looks like Adam Reach is the one who's measured out all the steps. The referee, David Webb, starting to lose his patience here with Brennan Johnson. He's supposed to be 10 yards away from the ball. He's not even 5 yards away, but the free kick is taken by Reach, aimed at Kyle Bartley. Just a little bit too long for him, but Darnell Furlong trying to keep it in play. Couldn't keep it in play. He tried to get a deflection there off Jack Colback, and it's out for a throw to Nottingham Forest. I think that certainly, I mean, had Bartley actually gone for that cross from Reach, I think the flag would have had to have gone up, because he seemed like he was a couple of yards offside there as that ball was being played in. Not the best free kick in the end from West Brom. The West Brom players didn't seem to time their runs with the free kick from Reach, and the free kick from Reach seemed to be a little bit overhit as well. But the visitors doing well to try and win possession back here inside the Forest. Off pressure there from Karlan Grant. Ball just gets away from Garner, and then eventually it's Adam Reach that then plays it back towards the halfway line for Clark to Townsend. Long ball from Townsend aimed at Andy Carroll. Good header down, and then the ball deflects into the path of Alex Mowat. Couldn't quite get a shot away, but it's back over on the right hand side. Furlong puts the ball in just a little bit too quick though for Karlan Grant, and thumbs up all round there for the two West Brom players, but in the end the ball just a little bit too quick there for Karlan Grant. This will be a bit of a worry though for Steve Cooper. His side have now had 3 attempts to try and clear this ball away from their own half and try and get some attacking possession themselves, and West Brom have come back every time and created another half chance. Now it's cleared up towards the halfway line, headed out by Kyle Bartley. Throw now to Nottingham Forest on the right hand side. Steve Bruce just getting the attention of Mr. Drysdale, our fourth official, because he wanted to get a message out to one of his players, and even though it was a throw to Forest, the West Brom manager just holding on to the ball for just a couple of seconds longer than is polite if he was just genuinely going to pass the ball back. I think he wanted his players just to get back into position. Always these fine margins, the players and the managers on the touchline, always just trying to just work that little extra advantage. But that's a good little ball over the top there from Joe Worrell to play in Johnson. Johnson across the 6-yard box. And that's a good save in the end there from David Button. It was fairly close to the West Brom keeper in the end, but he bowls it out quickly here for Townsend, who then sends an early ball over towards the edge of the penalty area. Reach was chasing that one, but that's well covered by Scott McKenna. Heads that one back to Bryce Samba. He's got a good pace to the game, the early stages here at the City Ground. Ball played now towards Sam Surridge, left-hand edge of the penalty area. Surridge cuts it back to Zinker Angel. Under a bit of pressure, there's Zinker Angel now plays it back towards Garner, who tries an effort. And in the effort, the strike from James Garner just a little bit too high. Never really looked like dipping enough to trouble David Button. But at least a quick response here from Nottingham Forest after these bright minutes here from West Brom. Just to remind you of the scores from earlier today. In the early game it finished Middlesbrough 0, Huddersfield 2. In the 3 o'clock kickoffs, Barnsley 0, Peterborough 2. Blackburn 0, Stoke City 1, Blackpool 6, Birmingham City 1, Cardiff 0, Luton 1, Coventry 0, Bournemouth 3, Millwall 2, Hull City 1, QPR 1, Derby 0, and Derby are relegated. It's an amazing game at Reading, with that game finishing 4-4 between Reading and Swansea. Swansea were 4-1 up at one stage in that game, and in the early evening kickoff it's finished Bristol City 1, Sheffield United 1. Meanwhile, here at the City Ground, ball now back with David Button. Long clearance from the goalkeeper up towards the halfway line. McKenna heads that away from Andy Carroll. And it's now with O'Shea down the right-hand side. Finds Furlong. Furlong back towards his own goalkeeper. West Brom defending the goal just to the side of where the away fans are in the first half. As Clark now has the ball on the left-hand side, sends the ball over towards Carroll. Good header away again by McKenna. It looks like he's been given the duty of marking Andy Carroll this evening. And Adam Reach now playing it back to O'Shea, just under a bit of pressure there. Loses the ball, and he was fouled, says the referee. Some bit of a waving fist there from James Garner. He's unhappy with our referee David Webb. He feels he did nothing wrong here. Well, I mean, there's not much of a foul, but at the same time, you can't say that it's a challenge for the ball and he's just bumped into the player. He's effectively pushed the player out the way and then run onto the ball. So he's still not over it. Garner still trying to get his message across to the referee. So the free kick has been given. As we can see, Steve Cooper, 58% win ratio as Nottingham Forest manager. Hasn't all gone his own way since he's taken up, but you've got to say that Forest have certainly stepped up a good few levels as compared to the start of the season. They seem to be playing with a little bit more freedom, and it's got them in the position that they're in now, where they're still very much in that playoff mix. It's all in their own hands, effectively. If they can start winning these games in hand, then they could find themselves very much closer to even second place. To say, if they were to win this evening, Forest, they would go a point behind Luton, but still have 2 games in hand on Luton and on Huddersfield, have the same number of games played as Bournemouth and Fulham. So it's still very, very tight at the top. But here come Forest now, down the left. Surridge chasing a long ball, just about keeps it in play, but he's under pressure now from O'Shea, playing it back towards Colback. Colback on the left-hand side, just holds the ball up, hasn't really got too many options. Now under pressure from Adam Reach, having to play it back towards Garner. And here comes Scott McKenna now for Nottingham Forest. 11 minutes gone. Independent off-tube studio commentary. It is goalless between Nottingham Forest and West Bromwich Albion. Brighter first 5 minutes for West Brom. Better response now, though, from Forest in the last few minutes. And they've won themselves a free kick at the edge of the area. That's a clumsy challenge there from Adam Reach. He won a free kick earlier in this half for a bit of a clumsy challenge at the edge of the Forest penalty area. Now he's just clipped the heels there of Philip Zinkerangel. Easy decision there really for the referee. There's not much contact, but then there's not much effort to play the ball either, so hasn't really got much of a defence there, Adam Reach. And a free kick to Forest in a decent position. This is a few yards closer than the free kick that West Brom had, and it's slightly more over towards the left-hand side. So this is going to suit a right-footed curling effort, you would imagine. Garner standing over it. Colback is there as well, but being more of a left foot, I'm not sure he's going to fancy this one. Johnson is there as well. But we'll see. It looks like it is James Garner that seems to be measuring out the steps. David Button just trying to get that wall organised. Knows there's a potential goal threat here. Button set himself up pretty much in the middle of the goal, which is unusual really these days. Keepers tend to just edge over towards one side. But Garner now waiting for the referee's whistle. It's a good chance for Forest. If Garner can get this up and over the wall, he's got half a chance of getting it on target and testing David Button. Referee David Webb happy to see this free kick taken now. And Garner steps up, 4-footed step up, goes for goal. It's over the bar in the end. Just doesn't quite get the up and down as much as he would have wanted there. Gets all the elevation. It's never really dipping though, and it's not curling enough either. It's not the best free kick that James Garner's taken in his career, that's for sure. And West Brom now looking to try and take this goal kick, but there's 3 players at the edge of the 6-yard box here, including the goalkeeper. Clark and Bartley are there as well, but Button sends them away, and he decides to clear this long, straight down the middle. And once again, Scott McKenna, that's I make that 5 headers that McKenna and Carroll have jumped up for, and so far McKenna has won 4 of them. He really is trying to keep Andy Carroll as quiet as possible, as the ball now all the way back towards David Button. Clears it to the halfway line, where McKenna wins the header against Carroll once again. Zinkerangel now for Nottingham Forest. He gets robbed of the ball by Bartley, but it then drops to McKenna, plays a long ball down the left-hand side. Kept alive here now by Zinkerangel, who bumps into Darnell Furlong, and the referee wants to have a word here with Furlong, who is straight away indicating to the referee that that's my first one. And the referee says, yeah, it is your first one, but it's a foul that's bad enough to get a yellow card. I'm surmising some of that. I can't exactly lip read all of that. And let's face it, I couldn't lip read what the players say. Well, I certainly couldn't broadcast it most of the time. But yeah, he does get a yellow card there, Furlong. I just see from this replay, I mean, there's an attempted trip there. It's the way that he's lifted that foot there, Darnell Furlong. I don't think that it's too much of a defence to say that it's his first foul. It's a pretty industrious challenge there. Furlong getting his 8th yellow card of the season. No surprise, really. Plays on that right-hand side of a midfield 4 sometimes plays in a back four if needed, but always getting involved there is Darnell Furlong, but he's going to have to be careful now. We've only just got to the 15th minute here as Garner takes the free kick from the left-hand side, aimed at the edge of the 6-yard box. It just gets away from Surridge, though it's kept alive here for Forest, just at the edge of the area. The ball played back in by Johnson. He gets a header away from a West Brom player. It's out for a corner kick. A couple of the West Brom players were unhappy. I'm not sure if they felt that was Johnson offside here, or that he handball it maybe as he slid in to win the ball off Bartley. Bartley was very animated in asking for that free kick. See from this reverse angle now. Well, his hand is down, and as we know from Premier League games, VAR would never allow any kind of accidental handball in a goal-scoring opportunity, although in the end I think there was probably more accident rather than design there. But it's a short corner taken to the edge of the area. It's with Johnson. He then lays it back towards Diop Spence, who decides to shoot from 30 yards. But that's about 10 yards over the bar there from Spence. No danger for David Button with that particular effort. And it will be a goal kick to West Brom. So certainly a good response now from Forest. The first 5-6 minutes, West Brom looked the much better side. But now, since that time, we've not really seen West Brom in any kind of attacking possession at all. The last 8 or 9 minutes certainly looking a lot better for Nottingham Forest. Forest's next game is a must-win, considering it's against a side who are fighting for their lives at the bottom of the league. Forest away at Peterborough on Saturday. Meanwhile, West Bromwich Albion, a West Midlands derby against Coventry City on Saturday at 3 p.m. But here comes Spence now with some space down the right-hand side. Gets to the edge of the area, looks up, plays a ball in, which drops perfectly here for Zinkerange, who wants too much time on the ball as there's a strike coming in from Garner. They're appealing a handball here, and it's going to be given. The referee points to the spot. Yates is unhappy with the penalty. He wants a red card as well as a penalty here. I think it may be Furlong that's used his hand. Is he going to get a second yellow? Darnell Furlong gets a second yellow. He's been sent off inside the first 16 minutes here. And now that yellow card he got just a few moments ago really has come back to haunt him. The West Bromwich Albion players are absolutely furious. The West Brom bench isn't happy here. Steve Bruce and his assistant Steve Agnew asking questions of our fourth official. Furlong slides in to win the initial ball, and as this strike comes in, he does have his arm up. I mean, has he deliberately put his arm up to save the ball? Oh, he's moved his hand towards the ball. It's an instinctive reaction from Furlong, and he looks crestfallen now going off the field, Darnell Furlong, but it's his ninth yellow of the season. The trouble is that he's got the last 2 in the same game, so he's now going off the field, and West Bromwich Albion are going to have to play just over 70 minutes in this game with 10 men. Mr. Drysdale, our fourth official, trying to calm down Darnell Furlong. Steve Agnew and Steve Bruce now, assistant and manager, just having a quick discussion. They're going to have to try and reshuffle this team now. They may ask Grant or Mowat to play in that right midfield role that was filled by Furlong. We'll have to wait and see. But bigger problems ahead for West Brom before all of that, because they've got a penalty to try and save here. Button is impatiently waiting. I'm not really sure what we're waiting for now. It seems that the match ball has got missing now. So we can't have this penalty taken. Now we can, and it looks like it's going to be the youngster Brennan Johnson, who's getting plenty of verbals here from David Button. I would like to recommend to a couple of the older Forest players, they should be trying to do a bit more to protect Johnson there, because Button pretty much had a free hit to the experienced goalkeeper, all in Johnson's ear. They're trying to distract him, trying to perhaps psych him out. All the tactics goalkeepers use just to try and get the striker to think too much about taking the penalty, because let's face it, the odds are always in favour of the penalty taker rather than the goalkeeper. So the keeper's always trying to just get that little extra edge. But a great chance here now for Forest. They're already playing against 10 men, but now they can really put the icing on the cake by taking the lead. It's Johnson against Button, and Johnson, he beats Button. Button gets the right way, but the ball is in the bottom corner, and Nottingham Forest take the lead on 19 minutes. Bit of a cheeky glance there from Johnson back towards Button as well. Well, that's always going to happen, isn't it? If a keeper tries to psych out the penalty taker and then the goal is scored, what does the goalkeeper expect? There's always going to be a little bit of afters, but Button, he's very cheeky, is Button. He was pointing down the middle, saying, go on, put it down the middle then. And Johnson doesn't put it down the middle. He puts it right into the bottom corner, and Button gets close, but he can't make the save. Nottingham Forest lead by a goal to nil. Big goal that for Brennan Johnson, club's top scorer with 16 goals for the season now, which is a decent return. Of course, it's not comparable to the league's top scorer, who is absolutely setting some ridiculous records, Alexander Mitrovic. But that said, it's still an impressive return for Johnson, and it was a good penalty in the circumstances. As I say, there was a real attempt there from Button to try and distract him. It's a good play there from the 20-year-old to convert the penalty. And now we'll see how West Brom are going to respond, playing with 10 men for the remainder of this game. They're going to win themselves a free kick down the left-hand side, as there was a good run there from Connor Townsend, and Diop Spence bumps into him. Diop Spence is going to get a yellow card for that. And yeah, I'm not surprised. There's a bit of a well, he certainly looks frustrated at the decision there. I mean, he was angry that the free kick was given against him there. I mean, he has tried to stop the run of Connor Townsend. There's no attempt at all to play the ball. So from that point of view, I think the referee could probably say that he was right to give Jed Spence the yellow card, but he's still not quite got over it here. Still trying to argue the case is the Forest man. It is a free kick to West Brom down the left-hand side. A decent position this as well. It's going to be whipped in here from the left-hand side. Ball in there from Mowat, headed up in the air. There's still a fight for it. May drop to Carrot, just gets away from him. It's at the edge of the area now, where Zinker Angel just rolls it to Spence. And now a good chance here for Forest to go on the counter. Spence, though, runs straight into Jake Livermore. The ball then deflects off Livermore, so it is out for a throw to Forest. Taken quickly here, and the West Brom players that were still tracking back, they didn't get back in time, and now it's a great opportunity for 2-0. Zinker Angel with the strike. The ball is just wide of the post. Now the West Brom players are absolutely furious here, and I'm trying to work out exactly why. Did they feel as though it should have been a throw on to them, and that's why they're frustrated that the Forest then took the throw quickly, and then it's almost like the referee didn't want to bring play back. But Steve Bruce now is getting in on this as well. It's hard to work out exactly what the visitors are unhappy about here. But yeah, Andy Carroll now joining his captain, Jake Livermore, just to try and get another message there to the referee. Message is, putting it politely, they were really in the referee's face there. David Webb really having to try and defuse the situation. But after all of that, it is going to be a corner kick to Nottingham Forest. So whatever West Brom were unhappy about, it's not made any difference at all. The ball deflected off a West Brom player. It's out for a corner, and it's James Garner standing over. It's going to be an out swinger from the right-hand side, right onto the head, and that is into the back of the net. Nottingham Forest now with a 2-goal lead, and it's an absolute bullet header into the back of the net, and it's Ryan Yates that has the goal. It's a really good header as well. Jumps up and gets that one into the back of the net. West Brom are continuing their complaints from the earlier situation. I think they feel as though there should have been a free kick or a throw onto them before Forest started this counter-attack, which then led to the corner and then led to the goal. But the fact is, it's turned into a nightmare 23 minutes here for the Baggies. They've gone from having a 5-6 minute spell where they were the better side to finding themselves down to 10 men, then a goal down, and now on 23 minutes they're 2 goals down. It's a great header from Ryan Yates. I mean, the marking's virtually non-existent. Yates isn't the tallest player on the field by any stretch. Bartley goes to him, but it's far too late. By the time Carl Bartley realises that Yates has got a free header, he's already jumping and actually heading the ball, and Button diving across couldn't quite get there. It's a very powerful header from Ryan Yates. Now let's have a look. What were West Brom unhappy about here? They were unhappy about the fact that the ball clearly comes off Jed Spence, and it does. Having seen the replay, it was clearly a throw-on to West Bromwich Albion. The throw-on wasn't given. Forest then took it quickly, and there was a run down the right-hand side, a shot from Zinker Angel which deflected out for a corner, and from that resulting corner, Ryan Yates has his 9th goal of the season, equaling his best ever goal return. So with still a few games to go for Forest this season, he'll be hoping to better that record of 9 league goals. Always a good return for a midfielder. But West Brom with it all to do now. 24 minutes gone, they find themselves 2 goals down, and they've been caught in possession here, specifically Livermore. It's Worrell now trying to go forward. Second ball here may be here for Ryan Yates, but he's judged to have fouled the West Brom man, Karlan Grant. Although I have to say, there didn't seem to be too much contact there with Grant, but the free kick has been given. And West Bromwich Albion, still, Steve Bruce is absolutely furious here in trying to get to the attention of Darren Drysdale, our fourth official. But he's got to pay attention here, Steve Bruce, because his side have got more defending to do as the ball comes in from the right-hand side. Surridge with an air shot. If he gets contact on that ball, he's only 9 yards out, 8 or 9 yards out. I'm thinking that's going to be 3-0, so it's lucky escape there for West Brom, really. That Surridge swung a leg out, but couldn't quite make contact with the ball. It's now Nottingham Forest in possession at the edge of their own penalty area with Tobias Figueiredo back towards Bryce Samba. Samba might have thought he was going to have a busy evening after the first 5 minutes of this game, but since then he's pretty much just been a spectator, a long-distance spectator here, with most of the action happening in the other goal. But it's now Forest slowly playing out from the back with McKenna. Now Garner. Square to McKenna. I'm just hoping that Forest can still maintain a decent pace in this game. Of course, safety first. They don't want to be risking too much, but with a 2-goal advantage and a man advantage, you just get the feeling they could really toy with West Brom if they wanted to. Well, they may go for the juggler and try and get that goal difference up, which can always be a helpful little tool in the Championship, particularly with things being so tight in that top six. Joe Worrell now inside towards James Garner. Spence on the right-hand side, going back towards Worrell, and now it's with Figueiredo, Andy Carroll trying to close him down. So he plays the ball over towards Yates, and then McKenna back towards Samba. So certainly the last 15 passes or so, Forest are very much toying with West Brom here. Gone up to the halfway line, and back to their own penalty area, and back up towards the halfway line again now with Garner to Worrell. Spence now trying to look busy down this right-hand side, plays the ball into Johnson, and Spence carries on his run into the penalty area. Johnson puts a cross in, which is deflected by Carl Bartley. It's an unusual sort of way of trying to stop the ball there. He sort of chested it away from the danger area at the edge of the 6-yard box, but then Button flying across catches the ball, but he was clearly out off the pitch when he did so. So it is going to be a corner kick to Nottingham Forest now. 27 minutes gone, Forest leading 2-0 here against West Bromwich Albion. And it was an out-swinging corner from Garner just a few minutes ago that went straight onto the head of Ryan Yates to make it 2-0. So we'll see if West Brom have learned their lessons from that last set piece. Garner now waiting to take this corner from the right-hand side. It's an out-swinger from him, puts a bit more of an angle on it. This time Bartley is in the right place. Heads it away with a couple of Forest players lurking behind him. Good strong header away though there from Bartley. Out for another corner. And Garner waiting to take it on this right-hand side. Just looking for a teammate inside the penalty area. I don't think anyone's come for the short ball. So it's going to be another outswinger here from James Garner. And here comes the ball in, aimed at the edge of the 6-yard box. It's Clark who gets a really good head to that. Heads it away to the edge of the area. Kept alive here by Zinker Angel. Over towards Johnson. Left-footed ball in from Johnson. It's headed away by Andy Carroll. McKenna then heads it back towards the West Brom penalty area. But in the meantime, there is an offside flag up against one of the Nottingham Forest players. Just as that second ball was being pumped back in. And it's going to be a free kick. In the meantime, we're going to get a substitution here for West Bromwich Albion, and a slightly perplexed look on the face of Karlan Grant. But it's going to be a young Taylor Garner Hickman to replace him. And you can see that Grant isn't happy at all there as he goes off the field. But Steve Bruce obviously feeling as though he just needs to try and plug that gap on the right-hand side. The interesting thing as well, though, is that Garner Hickman isn't really a defender, more of an attacking midfielder, really. So it does surprise me that Grant has got the hook here, and he's not happy either. Normally, I mean, you always see that when an outfield player has to go off because of a red card, whether it's to sort of make up for a defensive hole, or perhaps because a goalkeeper's been sent off and you've got to sacrifice an outfield player. I wouldn't expect to see the player going off to be happy about it, because you always want to stay on the field, but certainly there with Grant, it was on the verge of almost being showing dissent really to his coaches. Really very animated in the way he showed it. Well, I'll take that back. He wasn't like throwing his arms around or anything, but certainly there was no two ways about his facial expression. He was unhappy about the fact that he was going off, and probably looked a bit confused when he realised it was Gardner Hickman replacing, because if anything, Gardner Hickman plays in a similar sort of role to Grant. It's just that he's a younger, in effect, less experienced player. So Grant would argue that perhaps having him on the field would be a safer bet. But the change is made with less than half an hour on the clock. We've already had a red card, a penalty, and now our first substitution of the game. And a long clearance now. Again, Carroll beaten in the air, this time by Worrell. And Worrell now under pressure, playing it back towards Bryce Sambert. Oh, nice little step over there from Sambert. Drops a shoulder and leaves Andy Carroll behind. And then plays the ball over towards the left-hand side. Jack Colback. Of course, another man with plenty of Tyneside connections, just like Andy Carroll. Ball now played inside towards... the ball just gets away from Zinker Angel. And Reach now under pressure from Worrell. Keeps the ball for West Brom. Plays it back towards Kyle Bartley. And Bartley back towards David Button. To Bartley again, there's no sort of urgency about West Brom. That's not a criticism. They've just got 4, 5, 6 Nottingham Forest players pressing inside their own half. So it's going to be difficult for West Brom to play out from the back. Bartley then just clears a long ball down the middle. That goes straight to Scott McKenna. And it is Forest in possession now with James Garner over the halfway line. Plays that one inside now towards the goal scorer, first goal scorer Johnson. Johnson now to Spence, back to Garner. Thought about the early ball, but just plays it square now. Spots a bit of space here for Ryan Yates, and then Yates plays it into Colback. Colback with a left-footed ball which goes across. A slightly funny angle there from Colback. He was almost playing it away from the 6-yard box and back towards the edge of the area, and it eludes everybody out for a throw to West Brom down the left-hand side. But as we see here, what annoys me about the decision that West Brom are so furious about is that the linesman got it right. The linesman put his flag up and said it's a throw-on to Nottingham Forest. It's a throw-on to West Bromwich Albion. The referee then changed that, ignored that, and gave the throw-on to West Brom. Sorry, I'll get this right. The linesman said it should be a throw-on to West Bromwich Albion. The referee gave the decision the other way when he couldn't have seen it. From his perspective, the referee could not have seen that deflection off the thigh of Jed Spence. So it was a mistake from the referee to allow that throw to go the way of Forest when the linesman had clearly indicated it for West Brom. Forest then went on a quick counter-attack from that throw-on and won themselves a corner, and from that resulting corner, Yates heads it in for 2-0. I'll say this, I often think that certain teams perhaps look for too much of an excuse with decisions like that. Even if a corner kick's been given unfairly against, doesn't mean that you can stop marking inside the box. More could have been done to stop Ryan Yates from getting a free header, that's for sure, but you can certainly see why Forest would have been delighted with that goal, and why West Brom would have been absolutely furious that the referee effectively ignored his linesman who actually made the right call. But in the meantime, a long ball played into the West Brom penalty area, claimed here by David Button. Risky throw out from Button is almost picked off by Spence, but it does reach Reach on the left-hand side, and he's away towards the edge of the area. Plays it just behind Connor Townsend, but that's really good play there to keep the ball alive by Gardner Hickman. He plays it back towards Livermore, and there's a challenge in midfield, a good challenge there from Yates. Wins the ball back for Forest, and here comes Spence now down the right-hand side, heading towards the edge of the West Brom penalty area. Just gets away from Townsend, gets away from Mowat, but he can't quite get the ball into the penalty area. Still with Jed Spence down the right-hand side. Rolls it back towards Gardner. And Garner then trying to switch play for Colback. Just asking a little bit too much there off his teammate. Just a bit too much of an angle on that ball from James Garner. But we can see now Steve Cooper unhappy there with his players. I can't broadcast most of what I lip-read there, but I think the things what I gauged from that was that he was unhappy that Garner had played that long ball. There was no need for it. He was actually saying that just keep it, just relax. I think from Steve Cooper's point of view, he wants to make sure that Forest completely dominant in possession, so that West Brom have no way of trying to get back into this game before half-time. If Forest can keep it to 0, but until half-time they'll feel they're in a very strong position with a 2-goal advantage at least, and of course the man advantage as well, as we approach the 35th minute here at the City Ground. Independent Off-Tube studio commentary, and Forest do lead by 2-0 with a penalty from Brennan Johnson. That was scored on 19 minutes, and that was after a second yellow for Darnell Furlong. And 4 minutes later, Ryan Yates headed Forest into a 2-goal lead with a bullet header from a corner whipped in by James Garner. As Bartley steps forward there, and that could have been a foul, but the referee says play on. And West Brom now in possession of midfield here with Jake Livermore, surrounded by Forest players. Does really well there, the West Brom captain. Eventually just runs into Colback, and Livermore is absolutely furious with the referee there. He felt as though he'd been fouled a moment or two earlier, and Livermore, I mean, as I say, I think the fact that he's the captain means that he just about got away with that, because he was pretty much screaming in the referee's face there with his arms up as well. So I think if another player on the field had done that, he probably would have got a yellow card. But with Livermore being the captain, just given that slight bit more leeway to try and vent his frustration. And in fairness, that second goal for Forest does have elements of frustration for West Brom about it. So the fact is that West Brom and Derby lead the league in terms of red cards. Both teams have had 7 red cards this season. Derby adding to that list themselves in their game earlier today with a second yellow card for Tom Lawrence. As I say, it's a sad day for Derby County, who've found themselves relegated into the 3rd tier. So it was an amazing effort from Wayne Rooney, but when you think of all the external things going on at Pride Park, add to that the points deduction as well, of course. I mean, 21 points deducted. You add 21 points to what Derby have now, and they would be in 17th place. But meanwhile, back here at the City Ground, there's just a little bit of a swing in the game. West Brom are just starting to see a little bit more of the ball, and Andy Carroll there is pushed over by Tobias Figueiredo. And a good chance here now for West Brom from the left-hand side. The ball is going to be played in by Alex Mowat. Forest have set up at the edge of the area with their offside line. Mowat just waiting to see where his teammates position themselves. Dara O'Shea's in a decent position right at the edge of the area over on the right-hand side as Mowat puts the ball in. It's headed away by Worrell. The second ball might still be there for West Brom. Townsend. It's trying to win the ball back, and O'Shea in the end collides with well, what's happened here? This potentially is going to be a little bit of afters here now, because what's happened here is that it looks to me as though the youngster Gardner Hickman has kicked the ball into the into the Forest fans, and that's got a real reaction from the Forest fans. It's got a bit of a reaction from the Forest players as well, and certainly. There's a couple of Forest players, Forest fans that are absolutely furious there, having to be held back by the stewards almost from trying to get on the field. And we'll have to wait and see what the referee has made of this. As I say, it is the youngster Gardner Hickman who's just come on in the last few minutes for Carlam Grant. Doesn't look from the referee's sort of facial expressions or anything that we're going to be seeing another red card in this game, that's for sure. But it might be a booking. I think it has been a booking here for Taylor Gardner Hickman. Let's have a look here. It's a foul from Dara O'Shea. He could easily get booked for that. But then what happens here? That is stupid from. That is really stupid from Taylor Gardner Hickman. And in fairness, he apologises for it immediately. I think what he was doing was he was frustrated at West Brom losing the ball, and so he kicked the ball into the advertising boards. But as is often the case in these situations, he actually kicked the ball a little bit too high, so he missed the advertising board and he went straight into the first couple of rows of seats. And I think he did actually hit a fan, not in the face, but sort of right across the chest. And as I say, it's. In fairness, he apologised straight away, and he had Jake Livermore with his arm around him apologising as well, because you never want to see a player do that. I always remember going back a good few years now when I believe it was at Goodison Park, Everton playing Manchester United, and Manchester United won a throw, and an Everton fan threw the ball quite sort of ferociously at Gary Neville. Gary Neville didn't appreciate it and either threw it or booted it straight back, and I can't remember to this day if he got a second yellow for that or if he got a straight red, but he was sent off after that. So players have to be very careful when interacting with fans, and of course famously Eden Hazard kicked the ball underneath from underneath the ball boy at Swansea. I say a ball boy, he was a grown man, but who I think got the role of ball boy as a bit of a favour, but he certainly got himself in a bit of trouble there as well. So players have got to be careful. There's always that frustration when things aren't going well for you on the pitch, but you can't take it out on the fans. And as I say, I don't think Garner Hickman was trying to take it out on the fans, but it certainly would have looked to the Forest fans like he was kicking the ball straight at them. But here are Forest now heading towards the West Brom penalty area. Zinker Angel just stopped in his tracks by Connor Townsend. Now it is Garner Hickman. He can expect a bit of a reaction every time he touches the ball now, but Forest win it back, and it's with Ryan Yates. Plays it to Spence on the right-hand edge of the field here. Spence playing it in towards Johnson. Back now towards Joe Worrell. Ryan Yates again. Square now to James Garner. And he has options here. One of them is Jack Colback down the left-hand side. Garner back into the middle now. Finds Joe Worrell. Just holds it up again and then plays it back to Garner. This is very patient build-up from Forest here at the edge of the West Brom penalty area. Dara O'Shea goes down. He feels that he was pushed over, but then he picks himself up and actually makes the clearance, so he didn't spend too much time complaining. I think there might have been an argument to say he could have been pushed over there. Long ball now down the middle, and Bryce Samba comes out here for Forest. As I say, it's been a very, very quiet half here for the Forest keeper. After the first 5 minutes, he probably would have thought he was going to be busy, but since then, it pretty much has gone all the way of the home side. West Brom really struggling since that goal and red card, and since that second goal as well. They have just been a little bit deflated, although certainly very animated in their complaints to the referee. They have felt as though 2 or 3 times they really have been wronged in this game. But I say, as far as the red card, I'm not sure there's too much argument to say it wasn't one, because Furlong deserved the first yellow he got, and then he does raise his arm, or he moves his arm as if to make a bit of a save as the ball is about to fly past him when he's on the deck. So, as I say, the intent to try and stop the ball going towards goal is there, so I'm not so sure referee could do anything else other than show him a second yellow. It was frustrating because the 2 yellows came at just a couple of minutes apart. But again, just towards the end of the half now, a bit more possession here for West Bromwich Albion. But as I say, they're only able to keep it inside their own half as Dara O'Shea now back towards Button. Long clearance from the goalkeeper up towards Andy Carroll. This time he has an aerial battle with Figueiredo, and he does win it, but the loose ball ends up with Scott McKenna anyway. And the end result is that Forest have the ball back now here with Philip Zinker Angel. Gets to the edge of the area, tries to lift a cross in, which is hooked away by Bartley. Then played back towards the edge of the area now. Clark to Townsend, back to Clark with Adam Reach now on the left hand side before it's finally cleared by Matt Clark up towards the halfway line. Headed forward straight away here by Tobias Figueiredo, and a real fight for it there on the touchline before it eventually does go out for a throw to West Bromwich Albion. So we've got around 2 minutes to play before half time in this game. Forest with this 2-goal lead. Action coming thick and fast on this service after this evening's game. We have the small matter of Liverpool against Manchester United tomorrow. That is going to be a big game at Anfield. Big test that for United, of course, with Liverpool looking so dominant at the moment. As well as that, there is a big game in the Championship tomorrow as Fulham take on Preston. And then on Wednesday, Chelsea against Arsenal, Everton against Leicester, Newcastle against Palace. They're all 7:45 kickoffs in the Premier League before an 8 o'clock kickoff. Man City against Brighton. And then on Thursday, Burnley against Southampton. Before we do it all again in the Championship, starting with a Yorkshire derby. Huddersfield potentially could relegate Barnsley on Friday night before a full programme over Saturday. And in fact, all the other games being played on Saturday as the Championship, and of course the Football League season does tend to end a good few weeks before the Premier League season. Forest's last game, in fact all the last games in the Premier League in the Championship this season. We're on the 7th of May. We quickly go into the playoffs, that lottery that is the playoffs. And as someone who's seen his side have ups and downs in the playoffs, they're great when you're watching them for entertainment. They're great when you win in them, but they're absolutely horrific when you lose in them. So, as I say, I wouldn't wish it on any side, although one side every year is going to be delighted with the playoffs, and the other three are going to absolutely hate them. But certainly Steve Cooper has had his fair share of playoff frustration, getting to the semi-finals with Swansea City 2 seasons ago, losing to Brentford, and then last season getting to the final with Swansea City, again losing to Brentford. He's going to try and go one better this season and get to the final and get promotion with Nottingham Forest, and his side have just won a free kick at the edge of the area. Bit of a lunge there from Connor Townsend. This will be a free kick to Forest in a decent position, as Johnson was just about to break into the penalty area, and just steps out there. There's Townsend. Doesn't make any real effort to play the ball, and it is going to be a free kick down the right-hand side. Fourth official has just put the ball up. We are going to get 3 minutes. Doesn't surprise me. We've had the penalty, the red card, a couple of other stoppages as well, and 2 goals scored, of course. So that's always going to add a little bit of time onto the first half. We never get all the time back that we lose anyway. It's said to be about 15 minutes on average. Even when there isn't any particularly long-term injury or anything like that on the field, that's on average how much we lose in terms of having the continuous clock. But Forest now just trying to measure everything up for this free kick. It's going to be James Garner. It's over on the right-hand side, so I don't think Garner's going to be shooting here, but he's very close to the edge of the area, so it all depends on what kind of cross he puts in. He does put a cross in, it flicks off Bartley, gets another touch off another player before it goes out for a corner, is that? Certainly Livermore was charging across to try and make sure it didn't go out for a corner. Just waiting to see whether the West Brom captain managed it. I think it has been given as a... in fact, no, has it been given as a throw to Forest? It has. So Livermore, credit to him there. He did actually manage to stop that ball from going out for a corner, as... bit of a tussle there between Zinker Angel and Livermore. It is out for a throw though to Nottingham Forest, taken now by Colback to Johnson, back to Colback, who volleys it towards goal. My goodness, what a goal that is! What a goal that is from Jack Colback. I am absolutely stunned. He has looked up and pinged it with the left foot from an impossible angle and got it underneath the crossbar and into the back of the net. Nottingham Forest fans have stood with their heads in their hand. They can't believe what they've just seen, even though it's a goal for their team, and they're now 3-0 up before half-time against 10-man West Bromwich Albion. But what a strike this is from Jack Colback, flicked up by Brennan Johnson, and he catches it on the volley, on the angle, cuts across it with the left foot. It is an absolute beauty from Jack Colback. That's one of the best goals I've commentated on in a long, long time. That is superb from the Forest number 8. Absolutely wonderful technique. If you want to know how to hit a ball first time and put your laces through it, you watch Jack Colback with that effort. It is absolutely superb, and no chance at all for David Button. Nobody was expecting that. And Jack Colback with a slightly cheeky grin on his face. I mean, I can't say that it was a fluke, because there's no way he'd be crossing the ball like that with that sort of pace. So it is his 3rd goal of the season. I'm not sure that Jack Colback has scored many better goals than that. But aside from the wonderful strike, it really does put Nottingham Forest in a commanding position in this game now. Just seconds to play in this first half, as Brennan Johnson holds the ball up at the edge of the area. It looked to me like he was a mile offside there, and the offside flag just up to confirm that. So it will be a free kick to West Bromwich Albion, but this half-time whistle can't come soon enough for West Brom. They have been run absolutely ragged in the first 45 minutes. After a positive 5-6 minutes from the Baggies, they have really had very little to shout about in this first half, and the referee still allowing play to go on. I'm not really sure why. We've had more than the allotted 3 minutes now, but it's cleared away from the edge of the area by Ryan Yates up towards the halfway line. Andy Carroll then wins it back, plays it in towards Townsend. Townsend over the top for Reach. Reach now gets towards the edge of the area. He's tripped there. Is there going to be a free kick? No, there's not going to be a free kick because Adam Reach is actually in an offside position. That will be the last act of this first half at the City Ground. It is an absolute dream half here for Nottingham Forest. They lead by 3-0 against West Bromwich Albion, who have been down to 10 men since the 17th minute after a second yellow card for Darnell Furlong. And I'm back in 15 minutes for second half off Tube Studio Commentary.